Hello everyone, this is Miss Shara saying a scientific day, grade 4 students. Let me read our work plan for today. First, we're going to have science bits, and then we'll do a recall, discussion, and you'll do your scientific activity in your Genio package.
Are like animals. They need air, water, food, and protection to survive. They also have characteristics or body parts that help them meet these needs. For air, plants use their leaves. In their leaves are tiny little holes that allow the air to come in so they can breathe. For water, plants use their roots. Roots are like straws for these plants. They absorb the water, they suck up the water from the dirt, and bring the water to the different parts of the plant, the stem, the leaves, and the flower. For food, a plant also uses its leaves. Leaves are generally flat in order to get the most amount of sun, which is turned into energy for the plant. The leaves soak up that sun and through photosynthesis end up feeding the whole plant. For protection, plants have many defenses. Some can be seen like the thorns on this cactus. Some don't want to be eaten by animals. Some can taste bitter, and some are even poisonous to animals and insects. Plants have many characteristics.
Okay, so just like animals, plants has different basic needs in order for them to survive. Our planet has about 260,000 species or types of plants. They are found all over the place, your backyard, the rainforest, the deserts, and the poles. Plants cannot move from place to place the way animals can. That is why it is important that they are in the right environment. And they also have specialized structure to help them adapt in their environment. So today, our lessons covered is specialized structure of terrestrial and aquatic plants. Plants can survive and adapt in their habitat with their different environmental conditions because they can protect themselves from enemies and predators to reproduce their own kind. Plants have special structures for adaptation and survival that they use to protect themselves. So what are these structures? Let us find out how plants adapt to their different biomes. Why do plants adapt? Plants have adaptations to help them live and grow in different areas. This adaptation might make it very difficult for the plants to survive in a different place. This explains why certain plants are found in one area but not in another. Plants adapt to their environment from necessity. Just like animals, plants has also two types of adaptations: structural adaptations and behavioral adaptations. When we say structural, it means this is the way something is built or made. So physical structures. When we say behavioral adaptations, these are the way something acts naturally or by instinct. So this behavior means actions. What are the examples of structural adaptations in plants? One is adaptations to get food. Leaves and stems absorb energy from the sun. So they also have adaptations to get water and nutrients. So these structures are the roots. Roots soak up water and nutrients from soil. There are also structural adaptations for reproduction. The color of the flowers, brightly colored flowers with nectar attract pollinators such as birds, bees, and insects. Sweet fruit attracts animals that spread seeds far away. Some seeds are shaped to catch the wind. So these are structural adaptations for reproduction. We also have structural adaptations for defense, like spines and thorns to protect plants from predators. Look at this poison ivy and poison oak. They have toxins that give predators a painful itchy rash. So these epiphytic orchids have aerial roots that cling to the host plant. So they absorb minerals and water from the atmosphere. So these are example of structural adaptations. Long roots that helps them enable to cling to the trees. Right, so if you will look at the picture here, the orchids, the roots are hanging so they can absorb the moist from the air. The next type of adaptation is behavioral. So plants also have an action or a reactions to get food. So plants lean or grow towards the sun. Roots grow down into soil, so they need water. Vines climb up trees to catch sunlight. So these are behavioral adaptations. The way they react towards getting food. This one, the Venus flytrap, they have this one. Look at the structure of the plants. It has the ability to catch or trap insect for food. It's also behavioral adaptation. When the fly got near the plants, it closes. So that is the reaction. They get food. They catch food. That's why it's called Venus flytrap. We also have adaptation for reproductions. Plants drop seeds to grow new offspring. So amazing, no? That plants can also have behavioral adaptations. Now let's look closely to those terrestrial plants. So what are terrestrial plants? They possess specialized body structure in the leaves and stems that help provide their needs in the habitats such as sunlight, water, air, and mineral from the soil. Terrestrial plants have roots to anchor them to the soil and absorb water and nutrients as well. Most terrestrial plants grow in places where there is moderate amount of water. So these are the example of terrestrial plants from different biomes. So we have the desert plants, cactus, the grassland. We have plants from tropical rainforest, the rafflesia, and then we have plants from temperate rainforest. You can also see here different terrestrial plants from taiga, temperate deciduous forest, and tundra. Right, so we also have flowers in their habitat. We have flowers from terrestrial, and then we have flowers from aquatic habitat. So we call this as terrestrial plant or terrestrial flowers and aquatic flowers. So let's look closely how plants adapt to their different biomes. For desert adaptations, they have small leaves or spines, okay, to conserve water. They have thick waxy skin that holds in water. Roots near the soil surface soak up rainwater quickly before it evaporates. The desert is a very dry and often hot place for plants to live in, right? But still, some plants can adapt to this kind of environmental conditions, just like the following plants with their special characteristics. Succulent plants store water in their leaves or stem like the cactus. Some plants have no leaves or just have small seasonal leaves that grow after it rains. These leafless plants conduct photosynthesis in their green stem. Plants that require less energy grow slowly. They do not take much food, which is why they do not lose much water. Long roots spread out wide or go deeper in the ground to absorb water. Some plants have spines to discourage animals from eating plants for water. A grassland is an area dominated by grasses. Grasses have shallow root system that absorbs much water from a wider area. However, there are some plants with roots that extend deep into the soil to absorb water. This prevents grazing animals from pulling the roots out of the soil. Grassland plants usually have flexible stems, which bend instead of break when the wind is strong. They also have tiny leaves to reduce water loss. Temperate grassland plant adaptations. Temperate grassland or prairie plants are exposed to two kinds of weather conditions: the hot summers and cold winters. Rainfall is uncertain, but drought is common. Its soil is extremely rich in organic materials, which in turn enriches the soil. Other special features of adapting towards its natural habitats are soft stems that enables grass to bend with the wind. They have narrow leaves that lose less water. They have thick bark to resist fire. The upper portion of the ground grass may perish during a fire, but the root portion survives and sprouts again. Prairie shrubs sprout again after a fire. Grass is wind-pollinated. In a tundra habitat, tundra plants' life is dominated by mosses, grasses, and sedges. A little plant diversity is seen due to a cold year-round temperature. Mostly, plants are low-growing, covered with hair-like structures, and are seen in clumps to help conserve heat. Plants are dark in color, mostly red, which help them absorb heat from the sun. They are usually small and low-growing due to lack of nutrients. Tundra adaptations. Small plants grow close to the ground for warmth. Dark-colored flowers absorb heat from the sun. Then we have fuzzy stems provide protection from wind. The taiga habitat is mostly dominated by conifers, most of which are evergreen. It has cold winters and hot summers. The soil is acidic and the minerals are poor. The shape of many conifer trees helps shed heavy snow to save branches from breaking. Many trees have needle-like leaves with waxy coating that prevent evaporation. Plants in rainforest. Rainforest adaptations. It has smooth, slippery bark, keeps vines from killing trees, slide-shaped leaves, lets rain run off so fungus doesn't grow on plants. Rainforests receive heavy rainfall throughout the year. So most rainforest plants have leaves that have specialized tips called drip tips. Drip tips enable raindrops to run off quickly and to remove excess water on the leaves of plants. Tall trees grow in rainforest. They almost completely block sunlight from reaching the forest floor, which is a home to many plants. These plants in shaded areas tend to have large and thin leaves to catch as much sunlight as they can. Let's look at the tropical rainforest plant adaptations. In this type of habitat, plants grow rapidly and quickly using organic materials left behind by decomposing plants and animals. There is a great amount of diversity in plant species found in the rainforest. Their adaptations are characterized as follows. Some plants climb and/or grow on other plants to reach sunlight. Plants have shallow roots to help capture nutrients from the soil. Prop roots help support plants in the shallow soil. Drip tips and waxy surfaces of leaves help shed excess water. So flowers on the forest floor are designed to lure pollinators. Okay, so these are the example of tropical rainforest plants. The flower is bright to lure pollinators. Now let's look at the temperate rainforest plants. The temperate rainforest plants receive a lot of rainfall. The dominant plant species seen in this type of habitat are the large evergreen trees. Trees can grow very tall in this very moist environment. Cool temperatures lead to a slow decomposition, but some of them live on other plants to reach the sunlight. These plants are called epiphytes. Mosses and ferns live atop other plants to reach sunlight. So if you will look at the picture, this greenery that is attached to the skin or to the bark of those trees are the mosses and ferns. So look closely at the thick bark protects trees and dropping leaves in winter conserves water and nutrients during cold winters. For the plants in temperate deciduous forests, we call it as deciduous trees. Deciduous trees drop their leaves to minimize water loss. A temperate deciduous forest is made up of layers of plants that depend on certain factors such as climate, soil, and the age of the forest. Fallen dry leaves, twigs, and other dried plant parts usually cover the ground, decompose, and help add nutrients to the topsoil that make the plants healthier. Many trees have thick bark to protect against the cold weather. Wild flowers grow on the forest floor while deciduous trees drop their leaves to minimize water loss. Aquatic plants. Many aquatic plants can survive with a minimum water supply. The dead or dried out plant material is sufficient enough for a new plant to grow once water is available. Many are able to live for an extended period of time and wait for the opportunity to grow using their seeds and spores. Others use animals like birds and insects for pollination to take place. What are the adaptations of aquatic plants? Softness of leaves and stems that aids propagation by pieces, breaking off and regrowing. Types of root systems that holds the plants or allows it to move. Gaseous exchange that aids flotations of leaves and stems. If you remember, we have floating plants. Surface area to the number of leaves for flotation and ability to seek sunlight. Waxiness of leaves to protect the plant against transpiration and saturation. Hardness and stiffness for uprightness or erectness to stand tall and give above other plants for sunlight and to protect them from damage when the water flows. Propagation methods for transportations of seeds or plant parts, flowers that float, move with the breeze or attach to birds and insects. It has the ability to quickly recover from drying out. Here are some more plant adaptations in water. Underwater leaves and stems are flexible to move with water currents. Some plants have air spaces in their stems to help hold the plant up in the water. Submerged plants lack strong water transport system. Instead, water, nutrients, and dissolved gases are absorbed through the leaves directly from the water. Roots and root hairs reduce or absent. Roots only needed for anchorage, not for absorption of nutrients and water. Some plants have leaves that float atop the water, exposing themselves to the sunlight. In floating plants, chlorophyll is restricted to upper surface of leaves, part that the sunlight will hit, and the upper surface is waxy to repel water. Some plants produce seeds that can float. Thank you very much. So that ends our scientific lessons for today. Isn't it amazing that it's not only animals that has adaptations with their environment but also plants. So plants has specialized structures that enables them to live in their natural habitat. Plants grow on places where favorable water, light, carbon dioxide, soil, and temperature are available. So if you have any more questions, you can message me. Once again, this is Miss Shara saying a scientific day, grade 4 students. I love you guys.